Kindred Fires are an online business. They manufacture candles and sell those candles online, and their business has literally gone through the roof. We actually looked at a couple of premises before where we did a couple of schemes, a couple of budgets, and they couldn't quite find the correct unit for them. However, Paul called me and said that they'd located a new building in Manchester, and he asked me to go along and give him some ideas of budget. Paul had already done a basic layout, laying out his basic requirements, so we provided a budget quote that allowed them to find out whether taking the building on was feasible, and that's how the project started. In the warehouse they were going to create some production areas where they were going to manufacture these candles. So they required 2 large areas that they were going to kit out with workbenches, etc., and machinery. So the brief from us was to build a 4-sided enclosure with a suspended ceiling, and then inside we needed to provide very good lighting so that they could manufacture the candles, air conditioning because it gets incredibly hot manufacturing the candles, and a good ventilation system. So that was the brief. It came apparent after we'd designed it that there's the potential above for a mezzanine floor to be installed. Now with this project they didn't need the space initially, so we suggested to Paul that we build what we call a skeleton frame for the mezzanine, which basically means putting the columns, the main beams and the occasional purlin. And what that allows Paul to do in the future is, as and when they grow, we can come back, we can deck the mezzanine, install the staircases and put a handrail in. The advantage of doing it this way is it saves a lot of money in the outset, but the disadvantage if he didn't do it is he'd never be able to drop a mezzanine without dismantling the entire production area. So it quickly became apparent that that was the best solution. Within the manufacturing space, there was a good requirement for ventilation, air conditioning, lighting, smoke detection, power. Paul were pretty clued up about what he wants, so everything were detailed on his layout, so it was very, very easy to come up with a proposal. The warehouse had an existing office block which had a large open plan office, and they needed to split that space into a director's office and also a meeting room. So we installed some partitioning to split that space up, and we also made alterations to the lighting and also installed some ventilation up there as well. So Paul obviously located a building that was suitable for his business now and in the future, but we upscaled that a little bit by installing the potential for a mezzanine. So in theory Paul could actually double his production space by installing the mezzanine floor, and I think based on the growth that they've already had over the last 2 or 3 years, that in the future they'll be asking us to finish that mezzanine. So it's always worth considering putting a mezzanine floor in above any ground floor office space, even if it is a skeleton, just to ensure that in the future you can go up another level if required.